So, Twitter has been instrumental in American politics and elections. What role do you think X will play in the 2024 U.S. elections?
Well, our goal is to be as even-handed and fair as possible. Whether someone is right, left, independent, whatever the case may be, that the platform is as fair and as much of a level playing field as possible. And now in the past, Twitter has not been, because Twitter was controlled by far-left activists, objectively. They would describe themselves as that. So if sometimes people are like, well, has it moved to the right? Well, it's moved to the center. So from the perspective of the far left, yes, it has moved to the right, because everything's to the right from the far left. But no one on the far left that I'm aware of has been suspended or banned or de-amplified. But we're trying to be inclusive for the whole country and for other countries too. So there's a diversity of viewpoints, and free speech only matters if people you don't like are allowed to say things you don't like. Because if that's not the case, you don't have free speech, and it's only a matter of time before the censorship is turned upon you.
Do you think Donald Trump will come back to the platform? He recently posted on Truth Social about this podcast. Do you think
Truth Social is a funny name? Yeah. Every time you post on Truth Social,
it's the truth.
Yes. Well, every time, like 100%.
It's impossible to lie. Truth Social.
I just find it funny that every single thing is a truth. Like 100%.
Yeah.
That seems unlikely.
I think Gödel will say something about that. There's some mathematical contradictions possible if everything's the truth. Do you think he'll come back to X and start posting there?
I mean, I think he owns a big part of Truth.
Mm-hmm.
So
Truth Social.
Yeah, Truth Social.
Not Truth is a concept.
He owns Truth. Hope you bought it. So I think Donald Trump. I think he owns a big part of Truth Social. So, if he does want to post on the X platform, we would allow that. We obviously must allow a presidential candidate to post on our platform.
Community notes might be really fascinating there. The interaction.
Community notes is awesome.
Let's hope it holds up.
Yeah.
Like, again, in a political climate where it's so divisive and there's so many intensely viral posts.
Yes.
Community notes is like. It seems like an essential breath of fresh air.
Yeah, it's great. In fact, no system is going to be perfect, but the batting average of community notes is incredibly good. I've actually, frankly, yet to see an incorrect note that survived for more than a few hours.
How do you explain why it works?
Yeah, so the magic of community notes is it requires people who have historically disagreed in how they've rated notes. So in order to write a note or rate, and you have to rate many notes. Mm-hmm. And so we actually do use AI here. So we populate a vector space around how somebody has rated notes in the past. So it's not as simple as left or right, because there are many more. Life is much more complex than left or right. So there's a bunch of correlations in how you rate community notes posts, mm-hmm. Community notes. So then in order for a community note to actually be shown, people who historically have disagreed on a subject must agree in order for a note to be shown. That's the essential magic of it.
I mean, but it's fascinating because there's a pool of people that have disagreements, and somehow they collaborate through that process of disagreement to come up with context for. I mean, it's fascinating that it works.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense that if people who in the past have disagreed agree about something, it's probably true.
Yeah, I wonder, is there a possible somehow emergent thing there that could challenge Wikipedia? Which Wikipedia is a different kind of thing, which is more like permanent articles about things.
Well, Wikipedia is very hierarchical, whereas community notes is inherently not. There is no hierarchy. Like the acid test is, I can't change a community note if somebody put a gun to my head. So, community notes has all the code is open source, 100%. All the data is open source, 100%. So you can completely recreate any note in the system independently. So if there was any interference, you'd notice immediately.
By the way, on the topic of Grok, it's actually pretty good at criticizing you, which is great.
Okay.
I asked what has Elon Musk been wrong about? It's actually...
Yeah, what does it say?
So it says mostly lists rigorously all the times you predicted, like promised when something will be released, and it wasn't released.
Is a strong word.
Okay, predicted. But the opener is really nice. Elon Musk, the man who has been wrong about more things than a wrong-o-meter in a wrong factory. And then it goes on to list.
That's pretty funny. Hey, can I see it? I'm like, I haven't seen this before. This is cool.
Oh, sure. I mean, what has Elon Musk been... Elon Musk been wrong about? Well, where do I begin? I guess this is new. Elon Musk has made quite a few blunders in his time, and I'm not just talking about his dance moves at the Tesla Cyber Rodeo. First off, let's talk about the infamous funding secured tweet. This is actually different than what it gave me before, which is a bullet point list. Here's more narrative structure. Cybertruck unveiling, where he's supposedly unbreakable windows.
Not correct.
Which part?
Well, the first part, I did actually have the funding secured, and there was a big trial in San Francisco, a big civil trial, and the jury found me not guilty. Unanimous finding of a San Francisco jury.
And here it's kind of implying that it was not in fact secured.
I think this is taking things from the press. Yeah, that is not correct. The reason I agreed to the fine for the SEC is not because the SEC was correct. That was extremely bad behavior by the SEC, corruption, frankly. But if I did not agree to pay the fine, Tesla would have gone bankrupt immediately. So I was told by our CFO that the banks would immediately suspend our lines of credit. And if they suspend our lines of credit at that time, we would have gone bankrupt instantly. So there would never have been an opportunity for a trial because Tesla would be dead. So really, if this is like someone holding a gun to your kid's head and saying, pay $20 million and admit to, there's like a hostage negotiation.
Was that story fully told? I mean, SEC in its best form could be a force for good.
It should be. But not once did the SEC go after any of the hedge funds who were nonstop shorting and distorting Tesla. Not once. They would lie flat. The hedge funds would lie flat out on TV for their own gain at the expense of retail investors. Not once, literally 1,000 times. Not once did the SEC pursue them.
How do you explain this failure?
The incentive structure is messed up. Because the lawyers at the SEC are not paid well. It's a fairly low-paying job. But what they're looking for is a trophy. From the SEC, they're looking for something they put on basically their LinkedIn.
Yeah.
From that, they can get a job at a high-paying law firm. That's exactly what the lawyer here did. And the reason they don't attack the hedge funds is because those hedge funds employ those law firms, and they know if they attack the hedge funds, they're affecting their future career prospects. So they sell small investors down the river for their own career. That's what actually happens. Regulatory capture.
Regulatory capture.
Yeah, not good. So the only reason I accepted that thing technically was not an admission. It's neither admit nor deny guilt. But the only reason I agreed to that at all was because I was told Tesla would be bankrupt otherwise. So if there was an SEC investigation like this, banks would suspend funding. We're bankrupt immediately at the time. Mm-hmm. Now we're in a much stronger position.
Take that, Grok.
Yes, unfortunately, Grok is taking too much from the conventional media. Also, that guy was not a cave diver.
Oh, there's There's a time where Elon called a British cave diver a quote pedo guy after the diver criticized Musk's plan to rescue a group of boys trapped in a Thai cave. That little outburst earned him another lawsuit, and he had to apologize and pay a settlement.
That's false. There was no settlement. There was a court case, which the guy who was not a cave diver and was not part of the rescue team, filed a lawsuit against me and lost, and he received nothing. So in this case, it is wrong. It is also, I guess, taking this from the conventional media.
Actually, there's an interesting question here.
I mean, these are public court cases.
Yes.
Both the SEC civil case, where the civil complaints on the SEC guys lost unanimous jury verdict in San Francisco. They picked San Francisco because they thought it was the place I was most likely to lose. And a unanimous verdict in my favor. The LA trial was also, they picked they picked that venue because they thought I was most likely to lose. Unanimous verdict in my favor. Both cases I won. Yeah.
I mean, there's an interesting question here. There seems to be a lot more clicks if a journalistic organization writes a negative article about you, Elon Musk. That's like one of the best ways to get clicks. So how do you, if you're training Grok, not train on articles that have like the misaligned incentives?
We need to add the training set of the actual legal decisions. That is a note. This is actually helpful because if you actually read the
Which are public.
Yeah. The court conclusions, they're completely the opposite of what the media wrote.
So always striving for like the ground truth.
Yeah.
Beyond
what did the
reporting.
Judge actually write? What did the jury and the judge actually conclude? And in both cases, they found me innocent. And that's after they jury shopped for trying to find the venue where I'm most likely to lose. No, I mean, this is obviously it can be a much better critique than this. I mean, I've been far too optimistic about autopilot.
That was the critique I got, by the way, was more about that, which is it for each, you broke down a nice bullet point list for each of your companies, the set of predictions that you made, when you'll deliver, when you'll be able to solve, for example, self-driving, and it gives you like a list, and it was kind of compelling. And the basic takeaway is like you're often too optimistic about how long it takes to get something done.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I'm pathologically optimistic on schedule. This is true. But while I am sometimes late, I always deliver in the end.
Except with Uber Lilith, no.
We'll see.
Okay, is there over the past year or so since purchasing X, you've become more political? Is there a part of you that regrets that?
Have I?
In this battle to sort of counterweigh the woke that comes from
I guess
San
if you
Francisco.
consider fighting the woke mind virus, which I consider to be a civilizational threat, to be political, then yes.
So basically going into the battleground of politics. I mean, is there a part of you that regrets
Yes,
that?
I don't know if this is necessarily sort of one candidate or another candidate, but it's I'm generally against things that are anti-meritocratic or where there's an attempt to suppress discussion, where even discussing a topic is, not allowed. The woke mind virus is communism rebranded.
Well, I mean, that said, because of that battle against the woke mind virus, you're perceived as being right-wing.
If the woke is left, then I suppose that would be true. But I'm not sure. I think there are aspects of the left that are good. I mean, if you're in favor of, the environment, or if you want to have a positive future for humanity, if you believe in empathy for your fellow human beings, being kind and not cruel, whatever those values are.
You said that you were previously left or center left. What would you like to see in order for you to consider voting for Democrats again?
No, I would say that I would be probably left of center on social issues, probably a little bit right of center on economic issues.
And that still holds true.
Yes, but I think that's probably, half the country. Isn't that
Maybe more.
maybe more?
Are you and AOC secretly friends? Or bigger question, do you wish you and her and just people in general of all political persuasions would talk more and with empathy and maybe have a little bit more fun and good vibes and humor online?
I'm always in favor of humor. That's why we have a funny mode.
But good vibes, camaraderie, humor. You know? Like friendship.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I don't know AOC. I've only been at one. I was at the Met Ball when she attended, and she was wearing this dress, but I can only see one side of it, so it looked like "Eat the Itch," but I don't know
what the rest of it said. Yeah,
yeah, something.
I'm not sure.
Something about the itch. Eat the itch.
I think we should have a language model complete. What are the possible ways to complete that sentence? And so I guess that didn't work out well. Well, there's still hope. I root for friendship.
Sure, sounds good. More carrot, less stick.